The conjugate root theorem. If a quadratic has two roots, and it's written in this form here, then by the quadratic formula you have this answer. If you take this bit here, which is under the square root, okay, if that works out to be a complex number, in other words, that there, the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, if that works out to be less than 0, then you'll get a negative number. And so therefore under here, you're going to end up with a negative number, which will give you a value of I. So you'll get minus b plus or minus something to do with I over 2a. Because it's plus something and minus something, this thing here will be the same I value and you'll get conjugate roots. Let me give you an example. If you end up with x squared minus 2x plus 2 equals 0. And we do the quadratic formula. So here b is negative 2, a is 1, and c is 2. So if we're using the quadratic formula, x equals minus 2, so that's plus 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's negative 2 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 2, that's 4ac, all over 2 times 1. This gives you 2 plus or minus the square root of, and this thing under there gives us, it's 4 minus 8, which gives you minus 4. Okay, all over 2. Keeping going. That will give you 2 plus or minus. The square root of negative 4 is the same thing as the square root of negative 1 times 4, which is the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 4. That's negative 1 there. Okay, that will give you I times 2, or 2i. So this gives you plus or minus 2i over 2, which will end up being 1 plus or minus 1i. Now, that means there are two solutions, and the two solutions are going to be 1 plus 1i, or just 1 plus I. Let's just write it as 1 plus I, or 1 minus I. So that's our solutions for x. Notice that this one here is the conjugate pair of this one. So whenever you do a quadratic formula, you're always going to get something underneath there. If it's a complex number, you'll get two things, and it'll be plus that complex number or minus that complex number. So therefore, you'll get conjugate pairs as your solutions. These always occur as long as you have real coefficients of x.